doesn't matter. It can be S400. It's just the function itself cannot be RPG at this point. All right, so the objective is to go through the process of converting to a print file, to generating report to PDF and Excel on the web application. I'm going to show you the tools of how I set it up on the workspace and how we would deploy it. So let's get to it. All right, so I have my workspace here running. So this is the function that I built straight out of Plex. Is handwritten code. So I'm just gonna run it. So I have two types of report that I can display. And I'm gonna click on that PDF. All right, so it looks like this. Okay. So please pay attention to the records. So right now it's a bit smaller. I'm just going to show you that this is live. This is, it's not something that like a print screen. I got this actually working. So I'm going to show you, we'll add more records later just to show you that we generate this chart based on the data. So if you have, reports, you want to generate something, useful like charts, it is to be, live data, right? So, so let me add more stuff right now to my SQL database. I think I already have the code. Alright, so let me open my screen. Just gonna add this is my script. All right, so I'm gonna execute this. That's more record. Okay, so I think I have more right now. So let's get back to my app again. So pay attention to the numbers. So I'm gonna refresh. So I have here still the old one, so I'm gonna run it again. Okay, so there's a little bit more number there. So it's different. It's adding more data and it's live. So how do we get to here from the green screen? All right. So okay, so the tool that we rely on to get to the modern report is JS Report. It's a third-party tool. It's a JavaScript-based reporting platform. It's capable of producing various outputs like PDF, Excel, HTML, Word document, and CSV file. It's open source and cross-platform. So this is actually pretty easy to create if you can just hire like a web developer, because the report is based on just HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So, and then there's an API which is very well documented that you can just use. We got it pretty quickly to get this report running based on just the documentation from the website. So this is the website, the jsreport.net. So if you have just, if you want to do something small, like, small templates, 5 reports, it's free. So if you just want to try it out, it's free. If you want, if you want to go live, then I don't know the cost, but you can check on the website. So what are the steps to modernize to the two reports? So first, again, I mentioned before, we can't run this from RPG. It needs to be migrated to Plex or Java. It doesn't have, you don't have to use Plex. You can handwritten your code into Java or JavaScript even. It's not really relying on Plex at all. And then you have to add the source code API in the print file function. And then you have to set up your development workspace, of course, because I'm using Java, so Eclipse is usually the IDE that we use. And then you have to create the report control. I'll show you what's inside the report control.json file. And then you have to create the template, whether it's PDF or Excel. And then you have to install the JS report server, create a JavaScript files. You can customize this, but there's a basic template that you can follow. Even if you don't know JavaScript, JS report has a very good example in the showcases so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just copy paste the code, which is what I'm doing for this demo. So, and then you can change the color with CSS files. So, since I don't have the two-way background, so I just created this demo based on just in Plex, pure Plex. But if you have two-way model, you can go straight to Java or using Plex is fine. But for this demo purpose, I just use Plex to generate the Java function. So this is how it looks like. So this is the typical Plex function, how it looks like. Nothing fancy. And then I also mentioned about, we need to have the report control.json. So this JSON file is a properties file so that you can customize the PDF or the report. So it can be, you want it to be a landscape or, just the typical printout, and you can specify the margin, the size of the report. And, a lot of these properties, a lot of them comes from 2E because, this is a 2E track. So a lot of this, you're probably familiar with this. If you work with TUI, there's a, display different kind of attributes. So in the reports, there's like a hide and show of the fields, which, we can enable in the JS report based on what you have in your 2E print file function. So, and there's also the data format. If you have some kind of edit mask, that can be implemented as well in this JS report. So I have a PDF template. So I have two kinds. One is just the basic one. So let's just say if I, the straight out of the box, it's not gonna look the fanciest one that I just showed you. So let me rename this. So the out of the box is gonna look have to restart this because I changed the file and republish. But I'm going to show you how it looks at straight out of the box without JavaScript or anything. All right, so this is out of the box, plain, nothing. So this is what you see from the green screen. So, yeah, the fancy one, of course, has more effort in there with the CSS and JavaScript, but yeah, if you just want to get something basic, this is how it's going to look like.
This looks like from the SQL here, right?
Yes, this is from SQL, yes, but the table itself, like I said, the database can be iSeries. So we have something working from iSeries. I just for this demo purpose, put it on my machines. Yeah, but yeah, we just have to change the JDBC driver and the JDBC connection. But it will work in the iSeries. All right, so let me get back to my slides. So we have developed the source code API to generate this report to support the Java functions. So these are the three kinds of API that we wrote for this to support this JS report. So it initialize the service, add the data, and generate the report. So simple, three things. And then the next thing will be to set up the development workspace. So what do we need? First is just the Java project. Second is just the dependencies. And then the third one is the web project. So because this is a Plex 2A track, so we're using web client for this. But again, you can just use Java project. Doesn't have to be web client or Plex or anything. Again, you can see a lot of examples from the JS report website. But for this track, we're going to show you how to do it in using Plex and web client. There's also application.properties associated with this project where we specify your JS report server URL. So your JS report would be on a production server. It can be either Linux server or a Windows server. So you have to specify where the server is located, and there's a username and password associated to that server. There's a debug output folder and the output path. Those are optional fields for debugging. And then, if you have a certain path where you want your report to generate, then that where you specify that. So yeah, I've shown you before, this is the typical development environment, very simple, just three things. The server one is just because I deploy on the Tomcat, so we have the server holders, but this is Java project, web project, and this is the Java dependencies. All right, so this report control.json again contains the properties used to control the report output. So we use a tool to extract that print file information. So you might have asked, okay, how did you get the 2E information and put it into JSON? So we have an internal tool called 2E REST API where we extract all these 2A functions, all the panel properties, everything into a JSON format. So it will look something, yeah. So it will look like this. This is how we output it. So for you that's work in the 2E, you might be familiar with this, but I'm not working in 2E, so I don't know. So we use this information and kind of translate that into HTML and JavaScript.
So do you invoke the function that creates the string all from Java JS reporting, or you just look at the output, which is a small Java?
Okay.
To generate the report.
Everything is moved into Java. Nothing in the AS400 anymore. The only thing that's from AS400 is just the data itself.
So it's a database.
Yeah, just the database. Yeah, everything else has to be in Java.
Okay, so the API connects to the database, brings the data, and then it generates.
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, I mentioned that you can specify the data format, page size, and the report layout. And the templates. So I've only shown you before just the PDF templates, but yeah, again, you can create Excel templates as well. So let's go to that one. And I did not create a fancy templates for this, but I'm just going to show you how it looks like out of the box. Very simple. Yeah. So again, very plain, but it can be customized. I'll show you how fancy it can go later on in from the JS report. So this is out of the box, and then I'll show you how it looks like in the templates. All right, so first start with the PDF templates. So if you notice, I don't know if this is readable. We should try to zoom. Yeah, so it's basic HTML, nothing fancy there. So you can see there's HTML tag, head tag, body, and then there's a special curly bracket. So that's the templating engine that JS Report is using. So that's the only thing kind of special because we try to extract the data from the database. So this is the templating syntax that they use. I'll go into detail later, but this is just the out of the box format. Nothing customized to it. So this is the code, the basic one, and this is how it looks like for the Excel. So it's just tables, not even HTML. Just if you know how to do the table in HTML format, this is how it looks like. Okay, so JS report server. So what do we need? So you can again try to install and try it yourself. Go to the website. There's a Node.js as the dependency that you need to install, and then there's a licensing, but it's free if you only have 5 templates. And then we can upload all the stuff automatically to the server, so you don't have to do it manually. But even if you have to do it manually, it's not that bad. It's just kind of drag and drop anything. And then we have to put all the assets, which is the CSS and JavaScript. So for those of us that's know 2E, there's a print file and print objects. The print objects needs to be in the server, uploaded on the server. Okay, so this is the transformation, from the basic to the fancy version. So how do we get there? How do we get from the basic one to right there? As I told you before, we can get really fancy. So of course we need to add the styling, the style sheet. So this is again, I did not write this from scratch. This is coming from the JS Report website. I just copy and put it on my workspace. So this is the JavaScript, how it kind of do the calculation and filtering and charts and grouping. This is just a plain JavaScript. And how does it work? So how does it work? So how it works is it goes from the users on the right hand side. It will send a request to the web server. It can be a Tomcat or WebSphere, and then it goes to the database or the iSeries. And then it will get the data request and then send a response to the web server and then get the report generated. This is a more detailed runtime flow. So we have, 2 blocks here. There's a web client and the JS report server. So let's just take a look what's inside the JS report server. Again, we need the CSS, JavaScript, and print object templates. And then that's the PDF and Excel templates for the print object. And then on the left-hand side for the web client, we need the control, report control JSON. Also, we did the runtime service, the API, the jar file, the dependencies are all inside the web client. And then, of course, the function itself, and then there's that DB there where we get the information, the data.
So, in this diagram, it seems that you send a request to data, was said, where's the print job? Then the print job goes back, is that how it goes? Because that print job over there is output result from the database, correct?
Right, yeah, so
It's
when
not-
we, yeah, that's right. So when we say print object, print file, that's already converted to Java. It's not RPG function itself anymore. So the reason we say that that's a print object, print file, we just want to refer to, that's the function that we call a migrated function. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so that job is not created within an ACE-400, a print job.
No. No print job
The
anymore.
only thing that's in ACE-400 is the database.
Yes. Yeah. All right, so more detailed flow here. So we go deeper again, so yeah. So we'll go from the top left, any functions or, even many calls, print functions, and then we initialize the report service, loading the report control file. Again, the report control file is the function panel properties file, and the report properties, the width, the size, the margin, what template you want to generate is in that report control file. And we would have that the template in the workspace, and then the function has, we need to execute the function, read the data, and then maybe need to call another function. We don't know, but that's the process. And then there's a print statement inside your function that will invoke that report service. And that report service will try to gather the data, from the database. And then at the end of the function, there's going to be a request to generate the report. And then, continue the report service will invoke the API with the template and the data. And then the JS report will generate the report using, the data, the CSS, JavaScript, and, if there's a print object is optional, but if you have the print object inside your print file, it will be used as needed. And then the JS report output the report in the server and then stream back to the call. So which is what I just demoed you before. Back to the service, back to the function. So what does it take to deploy JS report? So, first we need to install the JS report server. If you already have something developed, then you have to upload your assets, your CSS, your JavaScript, your images, your print object templates. Again, I didn't put there's a print file. The print file template doesn't need to go to the JS report, but you might come and tell me, okay, we have thousands of print object templates. No problem. We can upload that automatically for you. And then we can just deploy the WAR file to a web server and get it running. And set up the application properties file. This is where we point our JS report server, username, password, and things like that. Okay, let me show you what we have from JS report. Showcase. Okay. So number one is invoice PDF. I'm just gonna run this. Okay, so this is example of how they do their invoice. I mean, you can expand out of here. I mean, this has like a basic structure that will generate. So this is in PDF. See, I don't know. So I show you the one that's task report. This is where, I follow for my demo. I just copy it again. I did not, I did not write my code from scratch. Again, I I mentioned before, they have a lot of examples that we can just use. So let's see, Excel dashboard. So this is the one that's going to generate a fancy Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to maximize this a little bit. Okay, so again, this is based on, data that, and then it generates charts. So this is based on, this line portfolio data. So if you change something and regen, it's going to change your chart. So then everything, all the codes are here. They share everything, so you can just use it. So these are the code. This one. Really refresh. All right. Okay, so these are the CSS, just normal CSS. Any web developer will be able to write this, change things. And these are how they do the calculation in JavaScript. So most of the time you would already have, the code, from, you can probably find it in the Google Stack Overflow very quickly to do something like this. So the maintenance is definitely very low once you get to this part. What else would you be interested in? So there's a form that there's form examples. I'm just gonna run that. Okay, so you can even generate something like this. So if you are interested in processing tax return or anything, this is something that they provided. So you can just use that. Again, you can do this in PDF and even Word documents. So. Okay, so this is the Word document format. As you can see, it's quite similar to the PDF. So, it's really there's no limit to this. We can, do a lot of things. Once you go to HTML, there's a lot of possibilities there that you can do. So, and I also want to mention that we have, I don't have the details, but I'm told that we have successfully created a report from COBOL, to this Java that is running in the JS report. So for those of you who are interested in, that COBOL, modernizing your COBOL programs to this format, please contact me first. But yeah, I don't have the detailed information. But I can show you an example that I just received from my team. So it looks like this. Okay, so this is something that's coming from COBOL apparently, but I'm not involved in this, and John was supposed to provide that information, and unfortunately John is not available, so I can only show you the output that we've done. But if you are interested to know more and how you can implement this in your organization, just contact me first. That's all I have. Anybody have any questions? Yes.
Performance wise, so have you tested it against benchmark or against S400 or? It looks like you're going against the SQL, right?
Yes.
So what's the? I know it depends on a lot of things.
Right.
I totally get that.
Right.
How's the performance? Like if you get the X400, get a root implementation.
Yeah, we don't have that at the moment to share, but the speed is not that fast. I mean, you can see even when I run this locally, this is by the JS report itself. So I haven't shown you. So so this is the JS report console. So when I click create report, so it's doing something in the background that's kind of slow it down a little bit. So when there's nothing there, you see it's quite fast. But if I change it to fancy one, it takes a bit longer. So let me go back again. Yeah, it's the rendering that takes a bit slower. So let me change that again.
For the actual generation of the PDF.
Because they're just split in that, right?
So I have to re-upload again, and then I'll show it slide by slide. Oh, this is the all right, so I'm gonna try to generate the fancy version. So as you can see, there's more things that it's doing this page request. This is again, this is something that's built in from the JS report. So this is trying to retrieve information, convert the data, convert the report format, and then do some calculation in the JavaScript and all that. But if you don't have to do processing, of course, it's less time. But I don't know, like it's not sub-second for sure. I'll do it again.
What we're doing is generating.
Right.
Files,
It's
right?
yes,
So
yeah.
it's really the display.
This, the graphic. Basically, it brings in the CSV.
Right. Yeah. Again, if you don't do processing, it will be less time. But if you do more processing, then everything is it's not free, I guess. It takes time. So yes, if there's no question, then yeah.